K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
Game on, where progressives fear us and rhinos tremble. Welcome to the political jungle. I'm JD.
This is Stacey. No one is safe. No one is spared.
Lock up the children.
And the old folk.
Welcome to the world of liberservative conservatarians.
Hoople-headed, jackassed, octogenarian morons who couldn't find two balls and a tit between all nine of them. Good evening. Thursday, June 25th, 2015, here on K98 Talk. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That means it's JD and Stacey here with Game On every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Catch us Sundays, 11 a.m. for the Bloody Marys and Broadsheet Show. And Tuesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Game On. Go over to Spreaker.com, hashtag K98 Talk. You can check out the catalog of everything Stacey and I have going on here. Folks, I know that everybody in the chat room, I want you to get real worked up right now. I want you to stand on the table. I want you to open the windows. I hope everybody in the audience right now is as pissed as Stacey and I are. Stacey, are you pissed?
I'm pissed, but I can't open a window. I'm on the 32nd floor. They don't let us do that.
That's right, because Stacey tonight is broadcasting from her mobile Western Command. She is out at Western Conservatives, where she's going to be broadcasting 5 hours a day live with a good partner sister network with us, Alt-Con Radio. That's Stephen Hamilton, baby. Yeah, she's going to be broadcasting with the beautiful, sarcastic, and funny Diane and Jody. It's going to be a what they call here in New York a shit show.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you very much. Shit show being a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
Oh, my God. All right, folks, listen, there's a lot to talk about in the world, but we're going to be talking about King v. Burwell. We're going to be talking about the 9 brilliant people up there with life appointments. But before that, Stacey and I made something a long time ago. We want everybody to pay attention to this. It is this important that we're going to break out the JD and Stacey siren for tonight's episode. Get pissed!
Whatever, I'll do what I want. My bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad. Whatever, I'll do what I want. My bad, my bad. No! This is so dumb. What do you think, I'm stupid?
We're going to get through this, but we just got to keep your chin up. Let's just stick with me. This will turn this thing around. We're going to get through this. We're going to turn this thing around.
My bad. My bad. My bad. You can act like a man. What can I do? Shut up.
Take it. Chuck 'em.
I don't know. I don't even know what I'm
doing. Are you amped up, Stacey? I'm amped up after that. The JD and Stacey siren. That's how important and special tonight's show is, right?
I believe so. I mean, I think it's only Thursday, and what a week it has been.
What are we talking about? Before we begin the episode, we're going to begin with a roll call. Everybody in the audience, please follow along and keep track. Chief Justice John Roberts, traitor to the Constitution. Justice Anthony M. Kennedy, traitor to the Constitution. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, traitor to the Constitution. Sonia Sotomayor, traitor to the Constitution. Stephen G. Breyer, traitor to the Constitution. And last but not least, Elena Kagan, traitor to the Constitution, which basically leaves Justice Scalia, Justice Thomas, and Justice Alito as maybe the last three people in that exalted temple of doom who may...
That can read?
All right. I'm sorry you had to start your Western States trip like this.
Oh, well, I paid $18.95 for Wi-Fi on the plane so I could keep track of everything that was going on.
You paid wait a second. You paid $19 for Wi-Fi on a 3.5-hour flight to confirm that you and the rest of the American people are taking it so deep we can taste it in our throat? Yeah, good.
Yeah, but there was YouTube video and there was articles to read and all this other stuff that just couldn't be cached the way I needed to be cached. So GoGo in-flight used to be like $5.95 for a 3-hour flight. I haven't traveled in a really long time. I got on the plane and I went, what? But I paid that $20. Read all 40 some odd pages of that lovely document.
47.
My favorite part started on page 27 because I think Justice Scalia pretty much boiled it right down to its bare bones as far as what actually happened. But
we got. Let me tell you, folks, right now, one of the best things that you could do is go to the Supreme Court website, download the PDF for the decision. It begins with Roberts' twisted logic, given the majority opinion. I'm going to come at it later on in the show. We have some great pull quotes. The best part of this document is 47 pages. I suggest you read the whole thing. The dissent by Antonin Scalia, who actually wrote it for Alito, and who the hell else was the dissent in there? Where the hell are my notes? The other guy who was not a traitor to the Constitution. But this dissent is one of the most stinging rebukes of American case law that I've actually ever seen. What are we talking about? Who is front and center here today? Who? The Supremes. That's who. You know, the black-robed, bespectacled wise men and women.
I need love to ease my mind. I need to find someone
Wait to give us distortion healthcare. We're all oh, you don't have to wait because the Supreme Court has screwed us.
oh my God.
Tell me I'm wrong. All right. What exactly are we talking about? We're going to take our time here on Game On. It's something we like to do, all the laughs aside. One of the reasons we want to bring some humor to tonight because it is really that serious. Basically, what we're talking about was adjudicated today, and what you hear as giving a life raft in the second time, basically codifying Obamacare into American law, was the King v. Burwell, Halbig v. Burwell, and Pruitt v. Burwell in Indiana v. IRS cases. Basically, you always hear them referred to as King v. Burwell. In the opinion of the court today, the petitioner's claim was that the plain language of the statute providing eligibility for tax credits only to those persons in states with state-operated exchanges was invalid. Rather, the disputed clause was found to be ambiguous and therefore should be interpreted in a way that is compatible with the rest of the law. Congress made the guaranteed issue and community rating requirements applicable in every state in the nation, but those requirements only work when combined with the coverage requirements and tax credits. It thus stands to reason that Congress meant basically for those provisions to apply in every state as well. Now, of the four cases I mentioned that basically are rolled up and referred to as King v. Burwell, they were federal lawsuits challenging the U.S. Treasury, specifically Regulation 26 CFR and 1.36B-2A1, issued under the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, also known as socialized medicine. The challengers basically argue that the ACA allows for certain subsidies only on one state-established exchanges and that the regulation is implemented by the IRS, providing for subsidies on state-run exchanges as well as federal exchanges exceed the authority that Congress granted to it. The Competitive Enterprise Institute coordinated and funded the King and Halbig lawsuits. It was all basically positioning here that because the plain text of the law read that a state had to set up its own exchange in order for its citizens to be eligible for subsidies. We have some audio we're going to play later of Jonathan Gruber, who, right, Stacey, had nothing to do with this, and nobody in the White House.
Had nothing to do with this. At least we didn't know until earlier this week.
Nancy Pelosi running around with a dress over her head and the balls hanging out going, I'm shocked that there's gambling going on in the casino.
Yeah, no, I mean, I honestly, once again, timing is everything, and it's all suspect. But the fact that the email disclosures earlier this week referring to Jonathan Gruber as the czar, the, Obamacare czar, and all this other wonderful stuff, and really giving a much better idea of what his role actually was in the process, that man should have testified in this court case. Absolutely should have testified in this court case.
And what would you go into a little bit off air? This wasn't even show prep. A couple of days ago, would you put it in context for the audience how our guys dropped the ball, so to speak, because if this had actually been approached the right way, he would have been mandated to have to and compelled to testify before Congress, correct?
Well, yeah, I think it all goes back to, Freedom of Information Act requests, subpoenas, and other things. Our guys can't get the information out of this administration that they require to do any sufficient oversight. They don't push hard enough. They allow the administration not to play by the rules, and then they get caught looking like absolute fools.
But they don't care. You and I were making this point, and this is the point that I'd like. You have 9 justices on the Supreme Court. The left,
8.5. I think Ruth's only half there. She's either drunk or sleeping.
I have an old, ugly midget sex joke, but we'll leave this alone.
Yes, please.
You have nine justices on the Supreme Court, and this is now the Roberts Court. And the prevailing wisdom is that Justice Roberts sees himself as the protector of the reputation of the court, and that the court should not unwind something that had been litigated my ass for a year and a half and debated. Passed, by the way, with parliamentary tricks and procedures using reconciliation, so they only needed 51 votes. But this is what the Grand Life-appointed wise Latina and the rest of the idiots up there, which is how they see. They're protectors of this great debate. Throw it back to Congress, who can't do a damn thing anyway. The left is always apoplectic that we have this viscerally conservative Supreme Court and they're going to end abortions and you can't marry your horse and whatever other kind of nonsense they're always wrapped up about. The reason that they say this is because the left is very simple and they communicate well. 5 of these justices were appointed by Republican presidents. 4 were appointed by Democrats. In there, you would have to figure there'd be an outlier, so you hear about swing votes and everything else. Folks, the justices who voted twice now to institute and codify this into the national fabric of this country for the time being were appointed by people over the last 20 or 30 years that you went out and knocked on doors for, that you donated money for, that you went and pulled the lever for. And I'm not even saying it's their fault. I don't know whether these justices lie to these people. But, Stacey, tell me something. Why is it that when progressives, the Democrats, or however you want to look at it, appoint Supreme Court justices, they are guaranteed lockstep progressive votes? I mean, if a Democratic president put a case before the Supreme Court and said, listen to me, we're gonna make sure that all horses have 9 legs and a tail coming out of the forehead, they vote for it.
Now, yes, what they have done with Obamacare, it's a tax, it's not a tax, and now the state and the federal government are the same thing. Absolutely wrong. And what the motivation is with Roberts and Kennedy and some of the traditionally more conservative justices to preserve this law, I don't necessarily understand. But if you look at the functioning of the Supreme Court during the Obama administration, they have found against him and his executive agencies well over a dozen times, sometimes in unanimous decisions. They've done it with the Department of Labor. They've done it in some other things that are very progressive. It's Obamacare that they keep screwing up.
That's like claiming victory because you're the tallest midget, okay? Who cares? Who cares what kind of – and look, they're not ticky-tacky.
Well, I mean, I don't want card check neutrality for unions. That would be horrid.
Listen,
and they were going down that path, and the Supreme Court stopped it. I'm saying they don't do everything wrong. This is horribly wrong.
Let me tell you something. They don't do – this isn't – look, this isn't right or wrong. Right now, and we got plenty of time to go into the decision and everything else in the next segment, but this is the politics of it. This is the politics of it. This is our people who listen to us 3 days a week. Get in chat rooms, write blogs, are active. All the activists that got involved in trying to crush TPA. And what happens on our side? I said it 2 weeks ago, and I was damn right. It was the night of the long knives. Godfather Part 2, Michael Corleone, the Republican leadership, settling all scores. Jason Chaffetz, this idiot, had to backtrack on, I forget, somebody's gavel he swiped it, and it made a whole bunch of noise up on Fox News.
Yep.
But this is completely tied into the fact that the presidential administrations, apart from our guys in Congress, do not appoint justices that are as reliable as the left. And you want to know what? I'm past this call balls and strikes nonsense. Yes, that's how it's supposed to be, but it's not. And after this decision, it can't ever be again because language doesn't matter. So if we're past the Supreme Court that's calling balls and strikes, you want to know what I want? You know what's on my Christmas wish list? Why don't you give me 5 lockstep conservatives that don't think and say, well, what do they say? That's good, because there's a vision. I'm at a point where I'm almost advocating the policies and the tactics of the left. You want to know why? Because what we do and what our guys do is not working.
Well, and again, I'm not saying we don't have everything to be angry about today. And I will tell you the God's honest truth. What kicked me into getting politically active and getting loud and getting involved and getting myself re-educated was Obamacare and Common Core. I hate Obamacare. Okay, the first time Obamacare was challenged in the courts, and it's not a tax. Really? Or it is a tax, or however they ended up hoopling that one around.
Both ways.
Okay, so that was just mind-boggling. This, to me, is even more mind-boggling. But to me, number one, I don't want my justices. I want justices, appointed that may tend to go more conservative, but I don't ever want them looking at a piece of legislation and interpreting it against anything but the freaking Constitution, whether they're appointed by the right or the left. The politicization of the court in this particular case and with Obamacare is what's really driving me crazy, because if you look at Hobby Lobby, they went way against the progressive left on that one. What is it about the Obamacare program in total that these justices are too afraid to whack?
Because Roberts does not want to unwind something in – listen, I heard Dana Perino earlier today saying that she was in the room because she was Roberts' chief spokesperson when he was being nominated to the court. He said that he sat in front of her and W and said that, I'm telling you, I'm just going to be a justice that calls balls and strikes. Later, he's given interviews and making noise that he sees himself as a protector of the image and the reputation of the court. These people are supposed to be closed up and reading nothing but statute, precedent, and case law. But don't mistake for a second, folks, that Roberts doesn't see himself as some deified Greek god sitting up there for a lifetime appointment, and he's a young man. You want a different Chief Justice? Hope you live about another 50 years, because this bastard's going to be there for a long, long, long time. And this isn't going to change, because if you don't think that these people aren't watching what's going on in Baltimore and what went on in South Carolina and everything else and sitting up there, they've gotten to a point, we've become such a soft society that our institutions are trying to save us from ourselves, okay? Folks, you're Americans. You don't need anybody to save you from yourselves. Think about, what was it, the 501st. That was the paratroop infantry division that was dropped into Bastogne in the Battle of the Bulge. They were completely surrounded. They were out of ammunition. They were freezing. They were starving. The Germans had tanks. They had nothing. And they were still fighting when Patton came in, and the story is that Patton saved them. Well, you want to know what? Those paratroopers turned around, and any of them that are alive today will tell you nobody saved them. We didn't need any saving. So everybody with an earshot of my voice, you're an American. You don't need saving because you can fight hard enough for yourself.
Okay, but let's look at what they decided today. Obamacare was always a solution in search of a problem. It didn't fix any of the problems that were inherent in the system of healthcare. Number one, because it was never put together nor did it ever intend to provide people with actual health care. It gives them insurance. And in most cases, it gives them insurance they can't even use. Because the deductibles are so high and the premiums are so expensive that they don't have an ability to go to the doctor and pay the doctor's bill.
All right,
okay?
We're coming back. We're coming back after the break on the other side of this with plenty more. So listen. Yeah, this is good, Stacey. You need to work everybody up. Take a breath. Hold that powder. Everybody in the audience, remember, since you've all been screwed today.
Let's have sex.
That's right. We're going to have fun tonight. Metallica's taking us to break.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan. This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear a Barack Obama speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy.
Red Nation Rising brings you Town Hall Radio.
From a single tweet to 3 million a month, our community is a force to be reckoned with on social media.
So don't miss our show, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Our chat room is our co-host, and you ask the question.
Join us and be heard.
So get ready to sound off on Red Nation Rising Radio. No one else is going to do it for you.
There's a wild, wild whisper blowing in the wind, calling out my name like a long lost friend.
K98Talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com.
Welcome back, everybody, here to Game On with JD and Stacey on K98 Talk. I thank everybody for letting Stacey and I get all worked up that first 20 minutes. I don't want you to lose that pump. Get over to K98Talk.com right now. Get in that chat room. Talk to Stacey. Throw some bombs. Fight some fights. Go find Slickery Trigger. He's arming everybody to the teeth. And the trolls are out tonight. I just checked my Twitter timeline. Svetless, anybody who knows this hack of a haggard broad, Svetless. Go over and tell this miserable bitch hello for both me and Stacey. And that commercial made me think. We want to thank that radio, Red Nation Rising, who is our lead-in every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That Lou with that Barry White radio voice, baby. Yeah. Whoo. Good Lord. Huh, Stacey?
Always good to have a good team on Thursday.
Now you
Ricky
got
Robinson, Red Nation Rising, then us. How lucky are these people? No,
exactly. Now you got to turn yourself up a little bit.
Turn myself up a little bit. I never turned myself down.
No, I know, but listen, this is the Mobile Command Western Studios
that
on
better?
the Fly Productions.
That better?
That's better. Listen, before we keep going back into the Supreme Court decision today, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what Western Conservative is, who's going to be out there, what you're going to be doing, what we're going to deliver to the folks while you're doing it?
Well, I've never been to Western Conservatives before. It is the Western equivalent of like the Republican leadership conferences that take place in New Hampshire and along the East Coast and what Rick went to a couple weeks ago in Oklahoma. So it's the Western version of it. We do have some presidential candidates speaking, albeit not all of them, but we did hear that Scott Walker will be the keynote speaker on Saturday night now, so that should be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Jody, Diane, and I will be broadcasting live from the festivities beginning tomorrow. When we have the exact times, we'll certainly put it out there for everybody. But really just looking to, I imagine this conference is going to be a little pumped after this week too.
You should be. And listen, folks, you cannot listen to them live because Ricky Rick Robinson would fire us. But get over to the All-Con Radio, which is also on Spreaker, and find the catalog of the Red Wine Show. You cannot watch it when it's live, listen to it when it's live. But Diane and Jody do have a good show over there. They are two strong, tough conservatives that Stacey is going to add to. I cannot imagine the three of you broads doing 10 hours of radio. Good Lord and baby Jesus.
Denver will never be the same.
People run around going, help me. Oh, call the police. Help me.
Wow.
Okay, terrific.
All right, now to go to something completely different and go back to
let's have sex. All right, I'll stop. What was the
All right,
point that
thank you.
What was the point that you were making as we were coming into the first break?
Well, a couple of things about this decision in particular bothered me when I read through the decision bothered me, but when I read through it, there were a few things that bothered me even more. The fact that a Supreme Court justice would go so far as to put forth the false liberal premise that the reason that we have problems paying for health care is because people only got insured when they were sick and not enough young, healthy people were insured. I don't know so much about that. I've done employer-based healthcare programs for a long time, and for working people, if your employer offered it, you usually bought it. There wasn't this huge section of the working and productive population under the age of 34 that was not insuring themselves for the most part from an employer-based standpoint. They didn't need to fix employer-sponsored health insurance. So young, healthy people weren't paying their fair share. So we're going to peanut butter this all over everybody, make people buy things they don't want to buy. So it's more affordable for everybody. Well, what we've clearly found is it's become even less affordable for everyone. So the fact that a chief justice would put into his position a false liberal premise made me want to bang my head against a wall, but I couldn't. I was on a plane in a middle seat. It was kind of hard.
Can we go back to what you want to do with the peanut butter?
Stacey's definition of peanut buttering, that means taking one thing and spreading it out all over the place so that everybody gets the same stuff or everybody's even. We've had this discussion before.
I gave myself my own inappropriate bell on that. Go ahead.
Thank God. The other thing that really bothered me about the articulation of Robert's decision is he actually almost appeared, and you read it too, so you tell me if you got this impression as well. The IRS had written a regulation. He almost took the IRS's interpretation of that regulation and put it ahead of the rule of law because their interpretation is what the majority thought the law really meant to say.
Listen,
he actually turned it over to the executive branch powers to overrule congressional legislation.
We talk about this all the time. If people think that the narrative game and problem that's being fed and sold out there is constrained to what people refer to as the mainstream media, you're crazy. You're absolutely nuts. Now, listen, people like narrative because it's simple and it gets them off the hook. And we're in the same position where there's bobble-headed idiot Roberts, who is now running the Supreme Court with 3 sane people in it, and every once in a while, one of the octogenarian morons forgets to take their medication, and we get a 5-4 decision in our direction. But he is no more immune to the concept of narrative than anybody else. And I'm glad you segued into this, because we're going to go a little bit more into his majority opinion. But, man, when you talk about there's sizzle and there's steak, Justice Antonin Scalia, who definitely deserves the respect of his full Italo-American name being put out there, baby. I mean, this is one of the most brilliant, clear, concise, and stinging dissents I have ever read.
It's not legalese.
No.
I don't know if you all remember in high school, but I certainly do, that they probably don't do it anymore. We actually had to read Supreme Court opinions. They got longer over the years. They used to be a little more succinct. This is one that's going to be talked about for a long time, because Scalia could not have been any more direct. The sum total of Scalia's response was, really, you're just lying.
Let me give you.
It was that clear.
Here he is in his. I mean, you can't talk about clear, concise language. His dissent runs about 18 to 20 pages. I'm going to pull you some of the best. I mean, when you speak about, like Stacey was saying, you've seen over the last 2 or 3 decades an increase in legalese. Yeah, that has to do with the fact that there's more precedent as you go on in time. But there is. Here's some clear language from a Supreme Court justice, Antonin Scalia, writing the dissent today in King v. Burwell. This isn't the whole thing. These are just some of the snippets I've taken from it. This is Scalia in his own words on the dissent. This case requires us to decide whether someone who buys insurance on an exchange established by the Secretary gets tax credits. You would think the answer would be obvious, so obvious there would hardly be a need for the Supreme Court to hear a case about it. Another one. Words no longer have meaning if an exchange that is not established by a state is, quote, established by the state, unquote. It is hard to come up with a clearer way to limit tax credits to state exchanges than to use the words, quote, established by the state. Under all the usual rules of interpretation, in short, the government should lose this case. But normal rules of, to me, right here.
This is the crux.
Okay, I honestly think that this line right here is a direct shot at the head of this court, Chief Justice John Roberts. Let me start this here. Under all the usual rules of interpretation, in short, the government should lose this case. Here's what I think is the shot at Roberts. But normal rules of interpretation seem always to yield to the overriding principle of the present court, the Affordable Care Act must be saved. I wholeheartedly agree with the court that the sound interpretation requires paying attention to the whole law, not homing in on isolated words or even isolated sections. Context always matters, Scalia goes on. Let us not forget, however, why context matters. It is a tool for understanding the terms of the law, not an excuse for rewriting them. Today's interpretation is not merely unnatural, it is unheard of. Far from offering the overwhelming evidence of meaning needed to justify the court's interpretation, other contextual clues undermine it at every turn. To begin with, other parts of the Act sharply distinguish between the establishment of an exchange by a state and the establishment of an exchange by the federal government, and he goes on and on and on. But all of it is that clear. I'll end it with a very simple statement he had. Making matters worse, the reader of the whole Act will come across a number of provisions beyond 36B, referring to the tax credit provision, refer to the establishment of exchanges by the states. Not such clear and untortured language in the Chief Justice's majority opinion.
Oh, my God. The Chief Justice majority opinion, I mean, if you want to start talking pretzel logic, that's pretty much it was. Because by the time you were done reading it, it was like, really? You know, really? I mean, he repeated, and again, this is what bothered me, and I'm not going to read it for you. I mean, I think some of Chief Justice Scalia's language was important to hear, especially that shot at Roberts. But the overall tenor of the thing, if you care to read the 20-some-odd pages that he took up doing it, was really, we can't undo this because people will get hurt. I mean, that was actually in there. That's a political position that is not interpreting the law as it's written. And that's what bothered me the most.
You damn straight. I mean, we actually have audio. This is very rare in the Supreme Courts. We have audio of Roberts explaining his logic of his majority decision today.
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Pretty much. And again, you're looking at this decision, and I think that last line you read from Scalia is hugely important, because I do not see this as a matter of fact in all decisions the court has taken up since Obama has been president. I absolutely do not. They have ruled against him a significant number of times, more than any president in the last 50 years. Unanimously, many, many times. Now, it wasn't as big a deal as this. It wasn't something that so many of us on the right hate so much, but they're not always kowtowing to the administration. I think what he said, but normal rules of interpretation seem always to yield to the overriding principle of the present court. The Affordable Care Act must be saved. When it comes to this particular piece of legislation, they act like hoople-headed jackasses every single time.
And this is a perfect transition. We have two cuts, and Scalia, in what he laid out in very clear language, we have two cuts of Jonathan Gruber, the man nobody in the administration had ever heard about, the one that Pelosi's got the dress over her head running from, going, he knew nothing. We read a litany of his emails the other day that came out of another FOIA request. He's referred to as a czar. He's referred to as this. But, folks, forget about the garbage you're being peddled by the administration. Listen to this. Jonathan Gruber, for whatever their story is, was an architect of this monstrosity. Listen to the man describe how this was set up in his own words.
You mentioned the health information exchanges for the states, and it's my understanding that if states don't provide them, then the federal government will provide them for the state.
Yeah, so these health insurance exchanges, once again, you go on mahealthconnector.org and see ours in Massachusetts, will be these new shopping places, and they'll be the place that people go to get their subsidies for health insurance. In the law, it says if the states don't provide them, the federal backstop will. The federal government has been sort of slow in putting out its backstop, I think partly because they want to sort of squeeze the states to do it. I think what's important to remember politically about this is if you're a state and you don't set up an exchange, that means your citizens don't get their tax credits. But your citizens still pay the taxes that support this bill. So you're essentially saying to your citizens, you're going to pay all the taxes to help all the other states in the country. I hope that that's a blatant enough political reality that states will get their act together and realize there are billions of dollars at stake here in setting up these exchanges, and they'll do it. But, once again, the politics can get ugly around this.
Now, this next cut to me, and Stacey, after the cut, tell me how this cut to me is where Gruber and what the idiot Roberts almost seem to be meeting in lockstep.
It's just you can't do it politically. You just literally cannot do it. Okay, transparent financing. Unless I have transparent financing, also transparent spending. I mean, this bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay, so it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Okay, just like lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass. And, it's the second best argument. Look, I wish Mark was right. We can make it all transparent. But I'd rather have this law than not. So it's kind of like his reporter story. There's things I wish I could change, but I'd rather have this law than not.
Stacey was actually at this symposium, and later on in the C-SPAN video, in the background, she got a hold of Gruber.
You can act like a man! What's the matter with you?
Good job, Stacey.
I had a cold that day.
With a minute
left. I honestly, even though he's a huge, MIT whoople, whoo, whatever his degrees in alphabet soup after his name is, when you go back and read Gruber's earlier work on the cost of healthcare and how to eliminate some of the cost of healthcare, it's all about rationing care. It's pro-abortion, especially in minority populations. He is like the Margaret Sanger of the modern age. Seriously. And we have constructed this whole monstrosity of a healthcare program with him as the czar. Not that other people weren't involved, because they were, and insurers were involved, and a lot of other people. And if you want to read a lot of good stuff about it, go read Jay Cost about how it actually happened. But it was built to solve a problem that doesn't happen, or doesn't solve a problem that didn't exist, in terms of providing people with better, more affordable health care.
No.
Okay. It provided them with insurance, and in many cases unusable insurance. And if you look at data from around the time Obamacare was being constructed, and this actually goes back even to Hillary Clinton's first stab at this when her husband was president, the average percentage of overhead that an individual doctor's practice had to pay to keep up with all these regulations and other things was 26% of their total overhead. That includes salaries, building, and everything else. This doesn't make it less expensive. It makes it more expensive.
I think there's more of this to tie up on the other side of this for a little bit. And look, you, me, and everybody else out there, after watching this Lepalooza, you know why. You know why we have Obamacare, right? You know why Jonathan Gruber got so involved in this. It was to get laid. It was literally...
Giggity, 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 let's have sex.
JD and Stacey, K98 Talk. We're going to see you on the other side.
Everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes and...
listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that, you know.
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
I'm easy like Sunday morning. Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. If it's Sunday, it's Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
We're your cure from your weekly news hangover.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, We give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
Welcome back to the Revolution, everybody. It starts here 9 p.m. Thursday night Eastern Standard Time on K98 Talk with JD and Stacey here on Game On. Everybody right now, get over to K98Talk.com, get in that chat room, say hi to Stacey, see what's going on in there, and as always, get you over to that Spreaker.com, hashtag K98 Talk. Stacey, how easy to be making for everybody in the audience to find us?
It's in SoundCloud, it's JD-Stacey with an E.
No, on Spreaker. JD and Stacey.
Oh, JD and Stacey. I'm sorry, you cut out, so I couldn't tell if you were talking about SoundCloud or Spreaker.
We make it easy for everybody, and again, we want to thank our lead in here on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope we didn't lose that whole audience with our little rant in the beginning of the show. We want to thank everybody who's been sticking around, old listeners, new listeners, everybody in between. We're going to ask everybody right now, you like the show, you've been enjoying the show, do me a favor, tell your friends about it. Get outside, open a window right now, scream it, share it, put it on Facebook, spread it around. People will have fun with us. You want to know why? Because we understand that the Supreme Court basically put this in our hands. Big Supremes night, huh? This is John Roberts' theme song. I mean, did he or did he not rescue Obama? What a joke. I don't. You and I have been, besides the 24, 36 hours we spent pissed at each other and, hiring hitmen to kill each other. Outside of that, the things to get pissed off at in the world are just unbelievable.
Well, and I think, too, as I'm sitting back and looking at this, you were kind enough, because I was running around this morning getting ready to travel, to send me the screenshot of all the news agencies hitting your phone simultaneously saying, the Supreme Court upheld Obamacare.
Right.
And I honestly believe this in my soul of souls. Okay, yes, we all know the decision should have been plain as day. We all look at what Scalia has written and said, yep, that's it right there. Okay, there is no alternative theory of the language in the bill that was being contested, as much as you would like to, take that pig and try to put lipstick on it. I truly believe...
You're so kinky.
Is that a saying you've never heard, putting lipstick on a pig? There's nothing kinky about that.
You're a libertarian. Whatever you're into, I don't judge. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was having a serious thought there, but okay. Earlier this week, we had a terrible tragedy. We saw a city handle itself with grace and unity and a whole bunch of just really good community-based help for each other. We watched that same community assaulted by the left. We watched, Sean King put $5,000 out on Twitter yesterday to try to get somebody to commit a crime and rip the flag. So everybody got totally immersed in a flag. While everybody was totally immersed in a flag, the governor of Maryland announced that he has stage 4 lymphoma. Russia and Saudi Arabia inked some kind of deal related to nukes and nuclear materials. We passed the Trade Promotion Authority and started to learn a little bit about what TPA and TISA look like. So our conservative leadership, abandoned us and didn't do the things that they said they were going to do. Then they started punishing some of our conservative representatives and officials. Now they've had to walk some of that back.
This isn't over.
But you're talking between Monday and Thursday. The right has taken such a beating that I think this is literally this is go time, folks, because we're either going to say, screw this, I'm staying home, screw it all. I'm going to go off the grid, let them do whatever they want. I'm done with this. I'm not buying Obamacare. I'm not buying their crap. I'm just not going to do it. Or We're going to figure out how to come together, make our voices louder, and start to behave more like the advocates on the left. I do not want my politicians to behave like the politicians on the left. I really don't, JD. I want the right to get over there. Don't tread on me and leave me the hell alone long enough to come together and actually impact what these hoopleheads are doing up in Washington, D.C.
Let me tell you something. I want a gold-plated Ferrari and a whole bunch of other things, but I'm not getting them tomorrow. And you are kidding yourself. You are absolutely kidding yourself if you think the power behind each of the houses of Congress that is controlled right now by what is termed our side is, look, I made this point 2 nights ago. I made this point 2 nights ago. Nancy Pelosi, in her wettest of dreams, and Harry, I got my ass kicked by the mobsters, Tread and Mill Reed, all right, could not have even dreamed of eviscerating and taking the power away from the conservative movement that's been elected inside this feckless Congress since 2010. They could not achieve what Boehner, McConnell, and the whips or whatever you call go watch House of Cards. House of Cards, as messed up as it is, has got nothing on these people. Nothing. Nothing. And I'm telling you, if you don't know what it is, Google Night of the Long Knives. That's what's coming out here. Jack the Ripper lives in the cloakroom of the House and the Senate. And he's not wearing a Democratic jersey. It's like the old mob movies, folks. Boehner and McConnell come in, known you forever, put their hand in, smile, and twist the knife.
I get it. Everybody's pissed, JD. I get it. But you know what? Eric Cantor wasn't supposed to be able to get beat either, and he did.
Listen.
Because people organized and got it done. So we can sit here and we can bitch and whine and moan as much as we want about this one being this way and this one being that way, and it's the Night of the Long Knives and it's worse than House of Cards, or we can decide, screw this, we're going to fix it.
Well, guess what?
And even if we have to fix it one at a freaking time, let's start with Boehner. Let's get him the hell out of there.
Guess what? All right? That kind of activism right now doesn't exist on our side. We can do it on single policy issues, but if you want it, listen to my ear, listen to my voice. I mean, do you think that anybody in the audience right now, do you think I want to be saying this? I don't. I don't care how worked up you are. I don't care how involved you are. If you do not get other people involved too and explain to them why it matters, we're going to lose. We're all fighting for the same damn thing here. Look, I'm going to tell you something. Stephanie Scruggs, Lou, Red Nation Rising, Stacey, all these other people, every one of you has more heart, toughness, and throat-slitting soul than any of our elected officials. But until other good people like you get up and raise their voice and go, oh, my God, but the Unite Blue people are going to come out and they're going to call my employer. Yeah? But go tell your employer that you're exercising your First Amendment right to free speech and some freaks are coming and committing crimes. And Stacey and I aren't coming at this from different places. We want all of you to fight. Man, pick something. If you got money, donate. If you don't, find some time. Go to gohconservative.com. Go to coalitionforastrongamerica.com. Folks, if you just cheerlead and don't fight, nobody who can change anything for us, the same way that Ronald Reagan moved this party to the right, they're all going to be gone with no power. With absolutely no power. And this is why I do what I do, and this is why Stacey does what she does. But you all have to jump in with us. And if you're already in with us, then go tell your friends. And if your friends aren't listening, bash them in the head with a ball bat, grab them by the scruff of their neck and go, hey, moron, there's nothing left for any of us if certain of these things aren't taken care of.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I am out there almost every day along with a concerted and dedicated group of about 35 other people trying to explain to everyone. Ohio 8 is an election with national consequences. It is the only election with national consequences other than the 2016 presidential race. So if you really want things to change in Washington, because let me tell you, Scalise, formerly, also known as Teller, because he never really says anything. He just looks creepy and does whatever Boehner says. If you really want to change things there, You take out the leadership. You have to do it. We missed an opportunity with McConnell. We absolutely missed an opportunity.
And this was our hour to help everybody, help us change the world. Stacey's out there doing it right now this week at Western Conservative. Stacey, correct me if I'm wrong on this. You're going to have some stuff we'll be cross-posting, and then we'll put out on the show page where they can find you live?
We're trying to figure out if we can broadcast simultaneously. There's some technical stuff. So as soon as we get together and get all that sorted out, we will let everybody know exactly what we're doing.
No, man. It's like really technical. There's a lot of wheres, fors, what have you.
Yeah.
A lot of
it's kind of three
strands
girls
running
trying
around.
to figure out producing who've never done it before. So, yeah.
Hold on
cool.
a second. Let me get this straight. Three girls don't know what they're doing. Host a show with wine, peanut butter, lipstick, and pigs. Folks, please find us Sunday at 11 a.m. here on K98 Talk with Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. Check out JD and Stacey's Twitter page. We're going to have where Stacey's going to be, what she's going to be doing while she's out of conservative states. Follow her timeline at Scott's Fire. And baby girl, I was smart today. We're having fun. We're doing changes. Since I know that you're traveling and that you're all in the convention center, there's no keys to give you for a car. So tonight, since we've been having fun and doing it different, the crew is going to take us out. Why don't you tell everybody what you're going to be doing over there in Denver?
As I said, I'll be sitting here at Western Conservatives. When I get back next week, it's back to the grindstone and back to the activism for Mr. Winteregg and Mr. Gilmer.
And JD, as always, you can find him on the Twitters at GameOnJD. I am building what I built. Obama goes screw. And because I am here at the main command for JD and Stacey, I will be working backup, technical support, and anything she, Jody, and Diane needs. Remember, everybody check those girls out this weekend at Western Conservatives. We're going to see you Sunday at 11 a.m. Oh, yeah, Laws, you little Danish loser. I'm playing your song without permission. Go sue Napster.